We are right now at the very north of Norway in the town of Tromso, which is the Arctic gateway of the north and one of the world's most northerly cities anywhere outside Russia. And today we are riding a cruise and headed towards an Arctic fjord. So come join me on this journey as we explore an Arctic fjord from Tromso. Now, our journey started off from this place called Kaigata 6 in Tromso. This area has a lot of museums, restaurants. So generally, if you're a tourist area, you will definitely spend a whole bunch of time there. We are visiting in early May, so we don't have a lot of options out there. This was one of our top choices, this particular cruise, because we wanted to do fjords. Norway is a fjord country, and an Arctic fjord definitely sounds very exotic. This boat is a diesel electric boat, and that's why they market this as a silent fjord, because whenever it goes outside of the boat goes on its electric mode, and it is very, very quiet everywhere. Now, as we are leaving the port of Tromso, the whole city of Tromso sort of emerges in front of your eyes. You can see Tromso on the left. That's where kind of the town goes up. The bridge connects it to the mainland of Kvaløya on the right. The triangle shaped thing is the Arctic Cathedral, and that bridge is called the Tromso Bridge or the Tromso Brua, which is over the strait called the Tromso Strait, which then connects it to the Norwegian Sea. It is absolutely gorgeous everywhere. Now, a little bit of a geographical reference of where we are. So this whole area has a whole bunch of islands and bays and channels, and from there we are headed to this very unique looking fjord called the Ramsfjorden. So this is a very narrow fjord. This is not a very typical fjord, I would say, right? Like we then went to some other fjords down south in Bergen, and this looks very different from all the other ones we went to. The overall cruise length is around 4 hours. Right now we are going there. It is going to take roughly an hour or so to get to the key part of Ramsfjorden. And once we arrive there, this is the most interesting thing. So this is the end of that Ramsfjorden area, and you can see here it is frozen over. Keep in mind, this is early May. A fjord typically doesn't freeze because it is salt water, right, coming from the sea. But here, the interesting thing is all those mountains, they supply a lot of fresh water, and being this very narrow and deep, there is a freshwater layer on top of the salt water in this particular fjord, so it freezes over. During winter, this is a very popular pastime for the locals to come here and doing snowshoeing and fishing and things like that. When we went in May, it was the birds who were doing all the fishing over here. But this is an absolutely spectacular and gorgeous sight to come and visit in any season. Now, the next stop in our journey is this small island. So as we are going back, the boat stops at this small island where there is this fishing museum. So this is where she is our guide, and she is walking us through why they used to have white life jackets, and that used to be confused with icebergs in this part of the world. And this was one of the reasons why the color changed to orange, bright orange, so that you don't confuse it with snow and ice on the waters. So this was a cool little stop. They had like 3 stations over there. So the first station, this is the first station which takes us through sort of the history of fisheries in Norway. The next station, this is where you can see the very traditional spray being produced. These are white codfish which they dry up on these racks, and this is one of the most common food in Norway. And then the most bizarre station of them all is where you see these fishes from around these waters which have been preserved, I guess fossilized in some shape or form. There's a whale over there, there's a goatfish, and a whole bunch of others. A little bit of nightmarish stuff, especially for the kids, but it was a fun little stop nevertheless. Now, we spent a good 30-35 minutes, and on the way back, we stopped there. So you see that hole? That's the entrance to the tunnel. This is something which NATO and Norway created during the Cold War to hide their submarines. It has changed hands a few times. It went to private private hands 20 or so years back, and now apparently Norwegian government is trying to buy it back. Once we are inside, this is at this bar where they served us that white fish, the spray, which was a very unique experience in itself. You should definitely do that in Tromso. And if you're here, we would highly recommend you to try out this fjord. This was absolutely fascinating.